We salute Imam Drame for those words of comfort that have come from him. Let me recognize today, of course, the Master of Ceremony that is doing an excellent job. I recognize also Ambassador Adama Doumbia, who gave us an excellent rendition of that which is going on concerning Mother Moon and how wonderfully it was spelled out. Thank you so much for that. We also recognize Reverend Kamara Bakari, who is here, and all the people that are here that are too many to mention. Allow me in the next few minutes, first of all, to recognize the words of Dr. Imboni Radebe, who is our chair for Africa in IPD, for what he has done for all of us as Africans. To be honest, that's what an African is all about. An African, when he hears that there's a problem in the next village, we don't just send messages. We go there, sit with them. Whether it's a funeral, we sit on a reed mat. And sometimes we don't have anything to say, but we just sit there and feel heart to heart, spirit to spirit. And there's no greater encouragement than to stand with those we love and to encourage them during their dark days. So because of that, we would like to take this opportunity to salute and honor Dr. Imboni Radebe for representing us so well and expressing the African spirit in Korea in encouraging Mother Moon. Our faith remains strong that regardless of what has happened, Mother Moon will soon be out of incarceration and she will join us back, but her coming back will be much greater than her going in, because sometimes the world, or those of us that preach the Bible, understand that sometimes the enemy thinks that once he oppresses us, then he brings us to a place of depression. But like Dr. Radebe has said today, he came back with a message from incarceration that Mother Moon is in high spirits, encouraging those of us that are on the outside. And we thank God for her resilience, for her leadership, and for her spirit, her leadership, even in incarceration. So we thank our brother and doctor for representing us in the manner that he did. Allow me, on behalf of Zambia, and Zambia being a Christian nation, we hold an obligation in a situation like this. We hold an obligation to stand in faith and solidarity with men and women globally, those who are suffering for the sake of conscious their faith and their belief in God. We do understand from the wonderful report that has been given that, of course, the Korean government has advanced some legal issues and charges against Mother Moon. But those of us that have come into contact with her and with the great work that she does and her husband was doing together, we do understand that our battle today is that of the spirit rather than just the legal issues that have been advanced. I met the Moons, both the late Reverend Sun Myung Moon and his dear wife, the Reverend Jahak Moon, 21 years ago in Korea. And the moment I set my eyes on them, I understood a number of things. That spiritually, they were a force that Korea at some time and the rest of the world was going to deal with in a manner that, like we are seeing today, because they could not be resisted, and the energy of their faith, the energy of their influence, not just in the peninsula or in Korea, but the influence which has gone out globally around the world. Darkness cannot stand when light shines bright. And there is no place where light shines bright and darkness stays away. What has happened to Mother Moon is something we should all expect. Her light was becoming too bright. She was now interfering with what is called the dark continent of Africa by expressing her confidence and her faith in a continent that many people don't think about. But spiritually, she saw that the next movement of God and godliness and light is going to shine out of the African continent. As you can imagine, those words are words that have been responsible for the continuous oppression upon her and what she believes and stands for. So we don't look at her as a prisoner. We look at her as a person that is in there on the basis of a conscience and a faith in God and paying a high price for that. The other thing I would like to say in standing in solidarity is that the Moons, that is the late Reverend Moon and his dear wife, are a threat in many ways to the global status quo. Not only do they talk about peace globally, or the ambassadors of peace, but they have gone a step further, that they have created an infrastructure of peace. Now, that is more dangerous than those who only talk about peace. They have created a global system through which peace can be shared around the world. And the agents of violence, the agents of conflict, the agents of hate, and the ungodly agents do not like that, because not only are they talking about peace, they are reaching peace in many parts of the world. And therefore, I knew a long time ago that they were always going to be a target by the dark forces that do not want conflict around the world to end, those that do not want peace to cover our globe. They are going to fight in equal measure against these two ambassadors that God has raised in our generation to preach peace, not only in their country, continent, but peace globally. 82 years old, 8 days in incarceration. Even here in Africa, like Dr. Radebe said, we are very familiar with suffering. We're very familiar with injustice. Those of us that are in politics understand how you can easily be thrown in jail. I've been in jail so many times myself, not for any law I broke, not for anything that I did, but because of my conscious unbelief in the things of justice, peace, and a desire to unite our countries. So we do understand what has happened to Mother Moon, and that is why Zambia is standing shoulder to shoulder, strongly so, not only in prayer, but in other interventions that we are putting on the table. And we would like to confirm the fact that what we are seeing happening to Mother Moon is an old biblical story, all the way from the Garden of Eden and from creation. A division was seen in the Garden of Eden when God made man, who was good because he was following God. When the enemy entered the Garden of Eden, we see a split between good and evil. The devil came in and was perpetuating evil, which was against the good that God had brought about. So what we are seeing today is not just the incarceration of a woman of God who has expended her life for the sake of others, especially us here in Africa. But we are seeing an old fight that wherever God stands, the enemy will come to try to push back. So what we are seeing today is the push back to light, to peace, to justice, and a world that is free from conflict. The enemy does not want that. We look at the story of Jesus himself, whom we preach. He came to bring light, to bring hope, to bring freedom. But we see the opposing force forced him all the way to the cross until he was crucified, because that's how the world operates. We would like to believe that the reason why Mother Moon is in incarceration is precisely because of what she represents. Not only the message she preaches, but also to let you know that she was becoming and continues to become a great voice. And God has blessed her not only with the message of reconciliation and peace, but also with resource that can make that message go around the globe. As a politician, I can mention here without hesitation, as politicians, do not like anybody preaching a contrary message and is resourced with finance. Here in Africa, when we find an opposition leader who has a point and he has got means to take that point across the country, African leaders try to go after them and imprison them. Sometimes, unfortunately, even kill them. That's exactly what is happening. The power, the energy of hope, the energy of peace that is coming from Mother Moon is too powerful for them to watch. So that is why she's smiling, although in incarceration. That is why she's encouraging those of us who are on the outside, although in incarceration, because she understands that what is happening to her is part of the process of life. And the good news, just like it happened to Jesus, the enemy and the devil thought that they had gotten Jesus on the cross and it was finished and they were celebrating. Little did they know the third day was coming when Jesus would rise again. I would like to say the same about Mother Moon. There are those who are celebrating, we have got her, we are going to stop her, and this movement was becoming too powerful. Little do they know that when she walks out of that place, the energy of her faith will cover this globe in a manner that it could not have been done if she had not gone through the pain that she's going through. So we ask all of us, Zambia as a Christian nation, we commit ourselves to praying for Mother Moon. And we know that prayer changes things. Sometimes, as a politician, I do understand that we need to do more than pray. We need to petition. We need to let more voices speak. We need organized petitions to make sure that the Korean government understands that Mother Moon is an innocent person who means no harm to their country and to the global community. We have to keep sending that message out there until that message is heard. Let me close without speaking for too long. Let me close with a message from the Bible. Peter was incarcerated in the scriptures. And then we notice that the believers gathered together in the house and began to pray for his freedom to come out of prison. And prayer, the Bible says, prevailed and allowed the gates to be opened so that the incarcerated Peter could be freed. Prayer works. It worked then, it is going to work now. As a Christian nation, Zambia commits herself to standing in faith with the global UPF family as we go through this pain that we feel. Because from the human point of view, we feel the pain of an 82-year-old woman going through what she's going through. But on the other hand, we also want to encourage one another that what she's gone through is not in vain. Something bigger, something better, something stronger is going to come out of this. And we are convinced she shall come out soon. And all of us will be able to give God the praise and the honor for answering our prayer. May God bless us all and give us the strength and the courage to walk this path until we see her back amongst us again. Thank you.